And we're live.
Okay,
Rock and roll.
All right.
Yashar, welcome to
Nice to see you
Delmar
again.
Manufacturing Show 2022. We're
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Exhibition. The industry's out. The energy's live.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Great. My first time here at this Delmar Electronics Show for sure anyway. But, absolutely catching up with people I haven't met before.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of people
or-
might met digitally.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You know, even people that I haven't met before, I haven't met for a couple of years,
Yeah.
all of a sudden connecting, and the fact that everything is buzzing and everybody's obviously very happy.
Yeah.
With where the industry is anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really good. Yeah, and you own the whole.
Yeah, we'll try. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your role and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm in the digital transformation, essentially in Sourceability.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I lead, for the company. And as you know, we are a distributor of electronic components.
Mm-hmm.
We got some franchise lines, but a lot of non-franchise. What we call the unlimited line card as an
Mm-hmm.
independent distributor. And also we have our marketplace e-commerce platform, SourceEngine.com. Which is what we do. Mostly, or
Yeah.
we have a lot of basically focus on that. So
Yeah, what I've seen from you guys, the data intelligence, the UI, the basics of your website,
Yeah.
very impressive what you
Yeah.
guys have accomplished.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank
there's
you,
a
thank
lot
you.
of resources. I've played with it myself. I'm like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of development process to kind of
Yeah.
democratize the data,
Yeah.
show it clean.
Yeah, transparency. Yeah.
Transparency is key, and really
Yeah.
coming to the point of really taking the pandemic set us in technology revolution, and data is most important.
Yeah.
Really setting that path, and you guys are. I mean, it was luck, it was vision, but it just happened where
Yeah.
the pandemic happened, and we're
Yeah.
just launched
Yeah,
into
yeah.
this data-driven business now,
Yeah.
data-driven
True.
process.
True. Talking about data, we've even come a long way. We got to a stage where our business partners, not only the customers, but also the suppliers that we work with, or any other business partner that we get engaged with, as third parties or whatever. There's so much, interest in data
Yeah.
that we actually had to launch. And since last time we talked, I think it was back,
A couple of years ago. Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago. Yeah.
No, a year
ago?
ago.
Was it a year ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
with Jens, with our
Yeah,
CEO,
yeah,
with our
Jens, yeah.
founder, we now have launched a new, a data website called datalink.com. So the sourceengine.com, let's say, is a marketplace for the buyers and for the sellers,
Yeah.
right? And datalink, essentially, I like to call it that marketplace for data, in terms of, risk assessments, not just, on design, but also on price and availability.
Yeah.
It has also a little bit of a engineer persona at the back of the mind. So the engineers are not just designing electronic components or printed circuit boards, oblivious to the fact that are they available,
Yeah.
what's the pricing, is there any inventory, and all of that. That's where,
It aggregates a lot of information,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And gives it through a
Yeah.
good, easy UI for
Yeah.
all the users
Yeah.
and the engineer professionals, sales
Yeah.
professionals to
Yeah.
use, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think that's one thing is democratizing and unifying the product nomenclature in the process, because
Yeah.
we live in a business that's infinite amount of part numbers. It's like, how do you manage all this? And
Yeah.
through time,
Yeah.
part number nomenclature has changed, updates have happened, and I'm glad that you guys are like stepping forward and being forward thinking about how do we level this level playing field, have the same data, and also give these engineers a tool to make better decisions of their sourcing process, right?
Yeah, that's true. And that's where it was the start place of it. Back in a couple of years ago, one of the trade fairs came across one of the major EDA providers in the world. We can talk about the name now, actually, because they're imminently about to go live. It's called Cadence.
Okay.
They are one of the largest EDA companies in our space.
Can you explain to what EDA is?
Yeah, EDA is essentially, every engineer that designs a printed circuit board, or the final product that the printed circuit board goes in there, starts with an application called an EDA. It's an electronic design
Application,
I believe, right? Thank you for the help. It's kind of stuttering there. And there are major EDA players in the world. Cadence is one of the biggest ones, with two products, I believe, Allegro and OrCAD.
Okay.
Right, and it goes back a couple years ago in one of the just like a trade fair like this.
Yep.
We came across them, we pitched to them, we talked to them, and the idea developed, and they were really keen on being able to get data that their engineers or the engineers that normally use their applications are not really familiar with, because they're mostly familiar with product info, with crosses, with alternates and all of that. But does this component even does it even exist? You know, in terms of lead time. You know, am I going to wait like 50 weeks
life cycle process, is it in production, is it end of life, all this information that's key to an engineer to design the print. I mean, we all know we're facing what's going on today, all the process, supply chain disruptions, what we're facing. It's like we get, and that's the challenge that comes to play, is how do we mitigate that for the future, make sure this doesn't, you know, happen again.
That's right.
3 to 5, 10 years down the road.
That's right. Yeah. So that's where the idea began. Initially, it was in an internal application. We use it for ourselves, but then we went live with it as a product, datalink.com, you know, and it's been there since beginning of this year. And
is it subscription? Is it free to use, or how does it work?
No, it is subscription based.
Okay.
But the data is available either on the website and datalink.com, or is available through the APIs.
Okay. So customers or manufacturers can go from API and put it in pull it in their system to unify their data, you know, process. And basically, you know, you've already done all the work from aggregating it, so they can streamline it into their systems. Okay.
That's right. And it's mostly focused at market intelligence. Okay. You know, for the industry, but it also has product info, because obviously we're an e-commerce website. You know, we buy data, you know, or we acquire data by working with the suppliers. Yes. Right. So there's a ton of like life cycle rows, but product and technical information, sorted and aggregated, you know, and it's available. Either on API, you know, or on datalink.com for subscription purposes. And that's one of the biggest things that we embarked this year on top of what we do on our distribution business. Yeah,
I mean, I can see, you guys have been 7 years. I think I just saw something from Jens. You guys hit that 1 billion mark total revenue. I mean, it's unbelievable, the achievements.
That's the projection this year.
The projection, you know, it's unbelievable to go forward there to see but again, it was data driven, the process, believing in it. Being a disruptor, again, disrupting is good because it changes. Now, all companies have to focus about data, be a data-driven company. And that's the thing for manufacturing supply chain, that we have these breaks now because everything was, you know, the traditional basis. Systems don't talk. Nobody's talking to each other. It's very manual process. Yeah, I mean, there are a very small percentage that have those in Industry 4.0 digital systems, but 99% of the others don't. You know, they don't have those smaller, you know, to be able to do that. And you guys are really democratizing it and sharing it, understanding it, being leaders, carving a path for others to see, okay, this is what we can do. And I think that gave you the advantage of starting in a digital age compared to some other companies or legacy companies that they had older systems, and it's hard. You guys started from scratch and built and learned, and it's difficult as well. Going through it myself, it's like, how do we break it all down and start over? Because it's not just the system and the data, it's the people, right? Yeah, true. The people need to change the way they do it, because for every input there's now, you have to have an input to have output. That's right. And it's how do you have clean inputs and have automation and process that we can improve the efficiency, reduce the amount of error to improve that. And that's the process. And we have so much error because so much supply breaks in the system. There's error every single time.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that investment in the digital infrastructure, whatever it is, not just with an e-commerce website, with your ERP system, you know, with the APIs and EDIs and all the rest, right, in order to streamline, because we all know, you know, that the markets, you know, our industry, like any other market, will change. You know, there are different days coming, you know, in front of us with many different unforeseen circumstances. And the better that, you know, you've enabled yourself digitally with the right digital infrastructure is going to take you, you know, moving forward.
Of course. I mean, we are, how's it called? The Roaring 20s. 1920s was the Roaring 20s. This is the Roaring 20s too. We're in it as compute has got cheaper. You know, they brought the scale down. Everybody can achieve it. As compute gets cheaper, it's easy to scale, so everything becomes smart. And I think in a couple of years, we will solve AI. Once that happens, that machine learning process, everything is, I mean, today everything is smart. Our whole lives, our houses, process. Imagine once we have those machine tools, but again, it's data. The data feeds that machine to make the decision and the algorithms that are based to move forward. So it's so exciting what it is the industry you're in, from the component side, the hardware side, the moving to the data driven, and being able to really give back and really, you know, from the industry, really understand like, wow, it's so exciting to be in this industry. You know, what the future is. The future is bright. The future, I mean, you can see what Elon Musk is doing with his end, that forward thinking, that process is, there's a lot of disruption, but a lot of changes happening. Of course, you know, the geopolitics, the process don't stop, but we have to stay focused to what we need to do. And really, again, I think lead by example is one thing we say, just lead by example, you know? True. And I think that you guys have been doing that, and it's been doing a great work into the industry and really sharing that information and that mindset and that the direction that Sourceability has brought and Source Engine itself has brought. So it's great. Well, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you. And you know, this is it. We're back here. Everything's moving. We're talking. What's going on? And again, it's like for ourselves, it's like, how do we bring the new generation? How do we make it exciting again? How do we get out there? And we need talent. I mean, we all need talent, you know? We can't have all these machines and all this stuff without the talent, you know, pushing the buttons on them.
True.
So it's like, how do we make that exciting? And it's like, we can't go back what we were before. We need to move forward. And that's something that I think I always lead by that example, share the information, share the knowledge, and get the thought leadership that you guys do as well. So I really appreciate the information. Thank you coming to the Real Talk again.
You got it. Thank you.
The quick chat.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the invite.
No problem, brother. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.